Welcome to the third section of this tutorial. In this section, we will discover how to build a web page using the Brizy Page Builder. So without further delay, let's get right to it. So let's go to our web pages. So we're going to go ahead to Pages, Add New. And we are going to give our page a name. We'll call it Demo 2. When you're building your page out, obviously you're going to want to name it something that's SEO friendly. mysneakerstore.com, or no, you don't want to name it mysneakerstore.com because that's what's going to show up here on the top page, on the top of your page in the tab. It's going to show up there, and you don't want it to say mysneakerstore.com. You want it to say something something SEO friendly, like fancy sneakers sold here, or we have fancy sneakers, we have fancy shoes. You know, play around with it, get used to it, and you'll see the changes that you make as you make the changes. So yeah, but we already did this. We already went through this in the other portion of the lesson. So we'll go ahead and skip this. We'll just give it a name, Demo Page 2, and we will name our we'll disable the header. We want to disable the header. We want to disable the footer. And we will choose our page attributes because we're going to be using Brizy. So what we'll do is change it to Brizy template, page attributes, the template, parent page. We don't need to give it a parent page. We don't need to change that because this isn't the sub page of one of these pages. It's a page all on its own. And discussion. I've never used that. We can enable the comments if we want. If you want to have comments on your page, you can allow that. I haven't used that. I haven't used that in a while with the page builders. I want to see how that works out, but not right now. Featured image. So we will set a featured image. We'll just use something like, I don't even know where those came from. We will use this girl here. Yeah. As our featured image. And we can set the location by clicking it and so on and so forth, but we'll leave it in the center. Set the focus point. We'll leave the focus point in the middle. Now we'll go down to our Yoast SEO, and focus keyword will be Demo 2 because it's a demo. But make sure you use the correct keywords. We already went over that in the previous discussion. We already went over that. The last lesson, we went over the keywords and all of this stuff. So we're not going to go too deep into that, but that's what you're going to look like. That's what your page is going to look like to the search engines. Now, Demo Page 2 is what's going to show up on the tab of the browser when somebody is on the website. So make sure you don't name your page Demo Page 2 unless that's what you want it to show up on the tab of your browser or in the search results. If your page should show up, in the search results for, you know, search engines. And we will edit the snippet, and we will change our slug to Demo 2. So it will be whatever your website is .com/Demo2 or /my page or whatever you put there, or /my -page. So choose whatever you want for your slug. Keep it short, keep it simple, or but also make sure it's descriptive of what your website is about or what your web page is about. So make sure your slug is descriptive of that. If you're selling shoes, you could put my shoes site, my-shoes -site, or just my shoes site /my shoes site, something like that. All right, so now let's go on to the editor. And we are going to click the button right here that says Edit with Brizy. Changes you made may not be saved. Let's cancel that and publish it. We want to change our saving. We want to save our changes. All right, so that's done. Now we'll edit with Brizy. And we will start to build our page. You can click here, press the button above to add blocks. That's where we first start with Brizy. You want to add a block. Now you can choose to add a blank block, or you can use one of the block templates. They even have layouts that you can start with as well. Fully built out pages that you can just click and you know, it'll populate on your page and you can just modify it to be whatever you want it to be. We can go over that real quick. Let's see if we have any non-pro layouts here. Free. So we have some free. Those are the free layouts that are available. Let's see, which one do we want to start with? This looks pretty cool. I like the way that looks. Ah, but that's classy. The furniture, loft design. So let's just click that, see what we're working with, and we will import this layout. And that's what we got. We have a whole bunch of different elements here. And we can click on that, make changes to this entire box. Or we can click on this section and make the changes to the text. We could change the typography right there. It comes with a few different fonts. It doesn't come with a whole bunch of fonts like Elementor does. Elementor gives you a ton of fonts. However, Elementor does not show you what the fonts look like. See right here, when you scroll through the fonts, you can see what they're going to look like. It's going to look like that, that's going to look like that, and so on and so forth. You can see, you can get a good idea of what they're going to look like. What font is that? I like that font. Nice. What is it? It doesn't show you what it is, though. That sucks. Anyway, we can change the font color. We can put some shadow to our font if we want. We can mask it, put an image overlay over the font. So if we had the font really big, and we can put an image overlay over that. So let's just do that, take a look. And we could put a face image overlay over the font if you want to do that. See, now we have the face in the background of the font. Let's make that really big so we can actually see what's going on there. You see the girl's face behind the font. Oops, bigger and bigger. See, you can kind of see, you can see the nose right there in between the font. New chairs collection. That actually looks pretty cool. However, we got it a bold, semi-bold. Let's go with black. That's super bold. It's as bold as it's gonna get. And you can see the girl's face right there and right there. I guess it's probably repeating. Yeah. Now we want to undo that. There's our undo button. Undo, 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 undo. Oops, we went too far. Let's go forward. There we go. So now we're back to normal. Now Brizy does not give you a list of edits that you've made like Elementor does. So you just have to keep pressing undo and undo. And don't get too far ahead of yourself with Brizy when you're making your web page and then decide to go back later, because it doesn't save as much history as I would like. It does save a good amount of history. You can go back quite a bit, but it's not going to go all the way back to the beginning if you've made a few hundred edits. So just keep that in mind. If you make changes and you want to go back, just make sure you go back immediately or after 3 or 4 or 5, 10, whatever edits you've made. So just keep that in mind. And it doesn't show you a list. As far as I know, it doesn't show you a list. What's this here? Page. That's just to modify the page. Page templates, some page elements, page settings, I guess, right there. Featured image, Brizy template. Minor settings are available there. And this is a responsiveness. So you hit tablet, and that's what your page is going to look like on a tablet. So people scrolling through your page on a tablet will get this experience here. And mobile view, this is what it would look like on a mobile. Looks pretty good. Nice and pleasing. That should load up really fast as well because it's pretty simple. Now we can go to desktop, and obviously that's what it's going to look like on a desktop because that's what we're using right now. And yeah, that's what we got. So let's go ahead and start from scratch, and let's start building our page. We want to add a block, a blank block. Now we have our blank block, and we can add some elements right here. Add elements. So let's add a text, and we'll add a header. But no, let's not add a text yet. Let's add a row. Or is it a column? One of these two. Play with these, and you'll see what the differences are. I think it's the column. Let's see. because a column gives me boxes within a larger box, and that's what I like. I prefer to have a box within a larger box. It's not this one. It's the row, I think it was. Yeah, so we need a row. And now we should have a box. Okay, so we have our 2 boxes. See, this is the main, I guess, row. Right, row, because that is a row. And we have 2 columns in our row. 1 column here and 1 column there. Now, if we click there, we can add another column by duplicating. See the little pop-up menu that pops up? Well, not a pop-up menu, but the help tip thingy. You click that and you duplicate it, and you can continue to duplicate. You can resize it simply by dragging and dropping, by sliding the slider, and it shows the percentage right here. So let's put this at 20%. Wow, that's hard. Come on. There we go. 20%. And we can do the same over there. 20%. So it's perfectly even. And we got it nice and centered in the middle. And what do we want to put there? Let's put some text, or we'll put an icon there, or an image. Let's put an image. We could put an image there. Now, when we click our image in the middle, we get a little pop-up menu. See, this is completely different from Elementor. I like this one better because it's just easier. I think it's easier. It simplifies somewhat, but a lot of the features are still there, even though it's simple to use, in my opinion. But just go with the page builder that you like. If your budget allows, get both of them. Well, you can use both of them. You can use both the free versions, even if you don't have a big budget. But if you're going to be building pages on a regular basis, like I said before, get both of them. They're worth it. And right now, Brizy is kind of new. So right now, I'm not sure if they're sold out, but for a limited time, they're offering 1,000 people a lifetime subscription to Brizy, and they have been improving it regularly. They're making improvements almost like at least once a month, twice a month maybe. They're improving it, adding new features, adding new elements on a regular basis. And they're offering their lifetime usage. So you don't have to pay for Brizy every year if you buy the lifetime subscription right now, which I believe is $200 or $300. Let's see what it is. We can go to the website real quick. Brizy.io, and we can look at the pricing and see what we have. Right here, last chance. They were offering 1,000. It's down to 548 lifetime licenses left. Let's see what the price is. Okay, so it's $2.99. You pay $2.99 once, and you own Brizy for the rest of your life. You can use it on as many websites as you want. You get white label. What is white label? White label is if you decide that you want to be offering your web design services, and you want to label the Brizy plugin as your own. So you can have it white labeled, and your clients won't even know that you're using Brizy because it'll be white labeled, and you can use it as your own and pretend as if Brizy is a product that you created yourself and resell it and so on and so forth. So that's pretty cool. And it's only $299 for a lifetime, and you'll never have to pay for it again. And there's only 548 slots left out of 1,000. So you might want to jump on that. It says last chance. It is lifetime updates and support, one-time payment. So you don't have to pay every year. Once this expires, you'll have to pay for it every year. This isn't a bad option either. 250 plus premium designs, 1-year updates and support, paid every year though. Now, if you're on the fence, like I was about Brizy, I started off with the free version. I liked it, I enjoyed it, and I wanted more features. So I went with the $49 a year plan. I started off with that for 3 sites, and I upgraded to this, $2.99. So what I'm going to do for you guys, since you stuck around this far, I'm going to offer the first 40 people a free license, one license for one website for 40 people, a Brizy Pro. I'm just going to give it to you. Lifetime. That's it. First 40 people. That's 4. 0. First 40 people to subscribe and sign up on my website. That's going to be linked down below. And submit your information, just your email address. Just email me, and the first 40 people that submits their email information will get 1 free license for Brizy Pro for 1 website for a lifetime. You don't have to pay it again. Just that's it. All right, now moving forward. Brizy WordPress Pro 250 plus premium designs. Now their templates are really nice. Brizy has some really nice templates to start off with. So if you're not into designing your website yourself, or you're having some brain fog, like a lot of us do, I'm having some brain fog sometimes, and you just can't think of a good design right now, you don't have any inspiration, just use one of their templates. Start with one of their templates, modify it to work with whatever you need done for your website. So the templates are fantastic. You can read it right here. That's one of their features. That's Brizy. Oh, and also you get Brizy Cloud, unlimited cloud access, which means you don't have to have a WordPress website. 2 years of unlimited hosted domains. Find out why. So you can have 2 years of Brizy service with this without owning the website. Just pay the $2.99 and you're covered for 2 years. You get to use their online, well, this is online, it's hosted on their server, but you get to use their in-cloud page builder without the overhead. I don't believe it's the overhead, without any of the WordPress features. So if you just want to use Brizy on its own, just use the page builder on its own, so you can build 1 page here, 1 page there, without having to have the WordPress back end or whatever. You can do that, but this is obviously more ideal, in my opinion anyway, just the plugin on WordPress. Or you can just go to brizy.io and use your own domain with Brizy and use their page builder as your sole website or sole page builder, and don't have any other features of WordPress. And their servers are pretty fast, so it might be better idea to use their service. You get 1 year cloud access with any of these plans, so they're pretty fast. It might be faster than most most hosting providers that are not dedicated WordPress hosting providers like WordPress engine. But those faster hosting providers that are dedicated WordPress providers, they're more expensive. They start anywhere from like $30 to $40 per month, and that's like on the low side of things. So, but you'll get blazing fast speeds. However, you're paying for it. And that's not to say that the hosting from SiteGround is slow, because it's not slow, especially if you optimize your WordPress website. You can find tutorials online about how to optimize your WordPress website for speed. And there are plugins that you can use to optimize your WordPress website as well, to make it faster without paying the extra expense of having a dedicated WordPress website, a dedicated WordPress hosting account. So let's move forward. Let's go back to building out our website with Brizy. We're using a free version right now, so we do not have a whole lot of options there. We have a good amount, and we don't have a whole bunch. So, all right, so what we're going to do right now, we're going to update Brizy, because there's been an update released, and we'll see if it adds any new features. I haven't updated this website in a while, so let's do that real quick, and then we'll come back and see if we got some new features. So we're going to save our page. To save your page, you just hit the update button, and we're going to go back to the dashboard, see if we get any new features. So we're going to go to plugins. We got 2 updates available. Oh, there is no updates for Brizy. All right, so we're going to leave those alone. Let's go back to our page. Demo page 2, edit with Brizy. All right, so let's add our picture. What picture can we add? Click on that, that's the image. You can hover your mouse over each one of these to find out what they do. If you want to turn that picture into a link, you have the option there. You can do that. You can link it to an external website. You can even link it to a block within your page. So if you have several blocks, this is one block right here. This is a block, and you can edit that block. That would be this entire section right here. This entire section. See that separation? That's this block. It's shaped like a block. It's a block. When you add another block, you'll have the separation there as well, if the other block has a different color background. But if you keep it default as white, so we can add a block there and you'll see exactly what I'm talking about. So we got a white background, so you don't see the separation between the two blocks. But we can change the color and we'll see the separation of the two blocks. See, we got one block there now and one block here. We got two blocks. It's a good idea with Brizy to do a lot of editing with separate blocks. You can put it all in one block if you want, but you know, for the sake of simplicity, and actually it would be more simple to put it in one block. Anyway, the preference is yours, the choice is yours, but I prefer multiple blocks when I'm dealing with Brizy. Now when I'm dealing with Elementor, I like to use one block for certain web pages, depending on what design I'm going for. So, all right, so let's see, what should we do? Let's put a nice background here. That would be the background image. We'll put a background image. And we can even change the animation, which is parallax. They call it parallax. It's basically the animation of the image behind. Let's show. It's better to show. We're going to put it at animated. We're going to add an image. We'll use that. It's already there. We don't have to upload anything else. We have that nice image. Now, as I scroll, you can see the image is moving. It's scrolling away from the image. Let's add some more padding here. And you can easily add padding with Brizy by just sliding, and you get all the padding you want. More, oh, I guess 6, oh wait. All right, that's all the padding we want to get right now. Now, as you can see, as I scroll, see how it moves? Background, gives it a nice little effect. Now let's change that animation to parallax to fixed, and you can see what the difference is. See, fixed means that the background doesn't move at all, but our page moves away from it. Background isn't moving. Now we can go with none, and the background will move with the page. But I like animated because it moves the background just a little bit, gives it a nice little effect. My personal preference. You can do whatever you want. And we can add some padding here. You see that? It says 75px. That's pixels. 75 pixels wide. We can decrease the padding or increase the padding so we can show the entire image. We will increase the padding and show that image, the background image, which looks pretty cool. And we can do the same thing, increase or decrease the padding at the top, so we can put our image right there in the center of the website. Now let's put our picture in, and let's add an image. No, let's upload something. Sorry, you guys can't see what's going on right now, but when you hit select files, the only thing that happens is just like any other website, when you're trying to select a file, you get the file manager opening up and you can choose a file. So you just find the file that you're looking for on your computer and you just put it there. That's it. We're going to go with this picture of a joystick. So we're going to pretend like we're building out a gaming website. So we'll go with that. That's what we just uploaded. Now it's always a good idea to title your images just to make it easier to find in search, because when people do Google searches for images, your image may pop up and they may click on it and take them to your website, and that's always a good thing. Traffic to the website is always a good thing. So you want to title it and you want to give it a description as well as alternate text. All right. Now let's hit select, because that's what we want to do. And we have our image. Now we're going to click on it again and go to the settings, because the default settings when you add an image on Brizy, depending on the size of the image, they may not be ideal. So we want to change the default settings. Now we want to go with 100% instead of 107%, because when you go with 107%, it's actually stretching the image and reducing the quality of the image. And we don't want to do that. If we want the image to be bigger, we will start off with a bigger image. We don't want to start off with a small image and then stretch it, and then we lose all of the image quality. We don't want that. So we're just going to change that to 100%, double click it, or you can use the slider. That works as well. But I find it easier to just double click it and type it in manually. And we'll leave the size at 100%, or we can shrink it down. And we can go big. I don't know if we can go bigger. Let's see if we can go bigger, 120%. Will that let us do it? It will let us do it. It will let us go to 120%, but we don't want to do that. So we'll just stick it at 100%. If you type it in manually, double click it, and type 120 or 130% manually, it will allow you to do that. You shouldn't do it because, like I said, it reduces the image quality. You want to keep the image at 100% or less. That way we'll have good image quality and our website will look nice. Now, if you're not worried too much about the image quality and you just want to expand it, then go ahead and knock yourself out. But that looks good, and we can round the edges off. We can use their default rounding, which is kind of, if that's the design you're going for, you can use it. Or we can use the slider, the corner slider, and we can round the edges off to our discretion. And we're going to go with like 15 pixels. I like that. 15 works. And we can see how that looks. That looks good. Now, what I can do also is add a shadow. We'll go under the color tab and we'll add shadow. See, it says shadow. The shadow, and some other things you'll find in the color tab. Just click on the different menu options there and see if you can find the setting that you're looking for. But once you start using Brizy, you'll get used to it and you'll know exactly where everything is. Now there's also, let's see if there's a hover feature. There's no hover feature on the image selection, but there's a hover feature. This right here, see it says hover. When you hover your mouse over it, it'll change the shadow color. So if you wanted to change and have a different effect when somebody hovers their mouse over the image, to let them know that the image is actionable, they can click on the image and it'll probably take them somewhere. Usually you'll want to add a hover effect to it, which will change the hover color right there. All right, so the shadow, we want to have it, you can have it either inset like that, which gives it a kind of a bubbly appearance, which is pretty cool. Or you can have it outset, which puts the shadow behind the image. See, we got a shadow now behind it, and we can make some changes to our shadow, and I will do that. Let's go with pink. Trust me on this, it's going to look pretty cool because we have a darker background, and we will see that when you hover your mouse over one of these numbers, it shows you what each one does right here. See that little thingy there? Now that one, the part that we have selected, is going to be the blur. This image represents blur. So we're going to raise that up. You can use the up and down keys on your keyboard to raise it up or increase or decrease. Or you could type in a number manually, but I'm just going to raise it up to about 20 something to give it a nice blur effect, a smoothing effect. Now this one is how far out. That is the spread of the shadow. See, if we go up, it brings our shadow outward, nice and big. But the effect that I'm going for, I'm going to shrink it down to, I think mine is 20 something, to give it like a floaty effect. You won't even see it, but the next change that I make will show you what it's going to look like. So we'll keep it at -29. And this is the up and down position. See, it has up and down arrows right there. So if I move it up, it's going to move the shadow up eventually. Where is it? Oh, it moved. Why did it not? No. Oh, there it is. Yeah, it moved it. Well, this is the down one, I guess. See, at the bottom right there, that's our shadow. And that's actually what we were looking for. So if we go the other direction with it, obviously it's going to move our shadow to that side. Now that's the effect that I'm actually going for. So we'll move this over, change the color to like a hot pink. And now we got ourselves like a glow, like a pinkish glow, which looks pretty cool, right? I think it does. So that's too far out, I think. Let's bring it up some. Nope, that's not far enough. Not too much. I think that looks pretty cool. We got like a pink hooverish glow, and we can bring this in some more. Toward the middle, bring it back out. Now it looks like it's floating on some pinkish plasma type thingy. Maybe, maybe not. It doesn't really work on this background. If the background was darker, it would look better. Let's see what color we could change that to. Give it a better look. Yeah, that looks nicer. I like that. Oh, we can add some opacity to it as well. Yeah. And bring it down. This is the opacity slider. It doesn't say, but transparency. This is the transparency slider. So if you bring it all the way down to 0, it's invisible. Bring it up all the way to 100%. You know, you got 100%. Full transparency. Well, not full transparency. No transparency is 100%. You get the idea. So just play around with the slider until you get it to where you want it to be. Let's see if we can go purplish. Yeah, I think that looks better. Yeah, that looks good. So we got a nice little purple glow underneath our image, and we can add something here if we want, or we can leave that alone. Slide it up a little bit. Let's see, let's put a button underneath. Yeah, let's add a button. First we'll do a column. Let's do a column because we don't really need a whole lot of, we're just gonna put a single button here at the bottom. Now a column gives us 2 columns. We got 1 column here, 1 column there. We only want 1 column, so we're gonna click on that and click on the trash can, which is for deleting. Now we have our single column, and we can go ahead and add our button now. Now pay attention to where the underline is. See, if we hover our button, let me tell you what I did. I clicked it, drag it, and you're gonna drag it. You're gonna grab the element, the mouse click, don't let go of the mouse click, and then you're gonna drag it over to where you want it. And then when you get it to where you want it, you're gonna let go of your mouse, the left mouse button. Unless you're using a Mac, then you would just, well, either way, you just grab it and drag it. It's the same thing. See right there where that underline is? That's where it's gonna go. Now, if I move it there, it's gonna go right there. If I go there, it's gonna go there. If I put it here, where is it? Right there, that's where it's gonna go. If I put it, come on, there we go. If I put it there, it's gonna go there. See, right next to, and it created a new row for us. We don't want 4 rows, so we can grab it here. Oh no, I guess we gotta grab it there. So we'll grab it there and move it back to where we want it. We intended for the button to go there. Now we have it back to the way it should be, but we have to resize it now. Why did it resize? That's strange. You would think it would go back to the way it was. So we can always undo. So let's undo, grab our button right here, click it, drag it, drop it. That's our button. Now it doesn't show you when you grab the button and you put it into the, what is this called? The row column. When you put it into the column, it doesn't show you where it's going to go, but you can just assume it's going to go right there because that's where it's going to go. It's going to go right there. So, all right. So we'll leave that where it is. Right there in our single column. And our button does not have any transparency, but we can give it transparency if we want. Let's make it a semi-transparent button. So let's type on our button. We can leave that button as button. We'll just name it to button tool just so you can see that you can edit it right on the button. You don't have to go off to the left or to the right or anything or any other menu to make edits to the text on the button. You could do it right there on the button itself. So cap locks button 2. That's fine. And we have an icon on our button. So we'll click this. We can either get rid of the icon, see the button. We have our options for the button. We can change the size. We can change the size manually, or we can choose one of the presets, small, medium, and large. Or we can change it manually. This is the menu button for the manual size change. We can increase, decrease the width, and so on and so forth. So let's decrease the width so that we can increase the text size without making our button too much bigger. It's essentially adjusting the padding around the text with the size thing. Instead of calling it padding, they're just calling it size to make it a little easier to understand, which is essentially the same thing when you're dealing with this element. And we can adjust the height, make it taller or make it slimmer, less padding, more padding. And yeah, that's that. Now let's decrease that size right there. That looks good. So the next thing we're going to do is round some corners off on our button. We can make it a pill by using one of the presets. I don't want the pill, so we're going to round our corners off to about 12. And you can have a border if you want. See, that's a border, and you change the border color in a under this color tab right there. Right now, it doesn't look like it's adding a border because the border color is the same color. Or actually, you can see it when you hover it. See, look. See? You can slightly see it now. That's actually a pretty cool effect. I like the way that looks. We're going to leave that border there. Make it a little bigger so it stands out more. All right, so that looks good. Now the icon, we could change our icon. It comes with icons already built in. What is FA? I don't know what the FA is. Anyway, those are the icons that we have available to us right now. And it's a really big selection of icons. Huge selection of icons. Type face. There we go. We got some happy faces right here. Let's go with this one. So we got a happy face on our button. Now we can change up our icons position to the left, before the text or after the text. We can adjust the size using the preset 16, 24, 32 pixels for the text for the icon size, or we can do it manually with the slider. I prefer manually. And the spacing between the text and the icon, you can increase or decrease it using the spacing slider. And that looks good right there. That. So now let's go ahead to the text. Let's increase the size because I'm going to go big on the text. Now let's go to the text itself. We'll choose something different. And you can add a new font. I'm not going to go over that. It's pretty self-explanatory. Let's do it. So we can go to Google Fonts. Some integrations are available only in Pro, but we can still add fonts. We'll go to Google Fonts. Now, it doesn't show you, it expects you to know what font you want. See, it says, look for the font name. Tip, you can browse the Google font library here. So let's do that. We'll look through the font library and we will choose a font that we like. Remember the name. And then we'll just type the name in and add it. So I like Anton. That's pretty bold. It's a bold font. But we'll go with Lobster. Lobster is cool. All right. So now we go back to our website. We know the name, and we'll type it in. Lobster. LOBS. There we go. Lobster. Oh, we got Lobster too. I don't know what that looks like. And then we'll hit continue and hit done. And now the text option for Lobster is right there at the top. We have that option to label to use as our font. But let's go with that one. Nope, I don't like that either. We're not gonna go with that. Nope. Oswald, that's what I like to use on buttons. Now we're gonna change the weight from thin to semi-bold, or should we go with bold? Let's go with bold, and we'll increase the size. Button 2, we got a smiley. That's too big. That's good right there. Now we're going to adjust the color of our button right here. That looks good. No, it's too matchy-matchy. And let's go with the gradient, because we can do gradients with Brizy. It's built in to the free version. So let's go with the gradient. And we're going to get rid of the border because I don't like the way that border looks now. With that, we're going with the gradient. And this will be the first half of our gradient. See, it's set to 90 degrees. We can go with a linear gradient, which will be one color on one side, another color on the other side. or one color at the top, one color at the bottom, or you know, it's linear. Or you can go with radial, which will be like the center. As you can see, it's that color in the middle and the gradients outward. Center gradient. Looks like there's a light in the middle actually. That's pretty cool effect. But I like linear better, so we're gonna go with linear. In the border, we can change the border, but we're gonna get rid of that border altogether. All right, so we're gonna change the second half. As you can see, second half is a little dark right there. So let's go with this color. Right there, and we're gonna fade it to that using this color. I like that. The bluish to purplish, that looks really good, in my opinion. And it kind of matches our shadow. But could it be too matchy-matchy? Nope, it looks good. All right, so our shadow. Do we want a shadow on our button? Yeah, let's put the shadow. Let's put the same effect that we have here. Let's get the color right there, that color. We're going to click that. We're going to copy this. Control C. I just did that. It doesn't show up when I'm recording, but I copied it. Highlight, double click it, Control C, right click it, copy it. So we're going to copy that number. And we're going to go back to our button. And we are going to edit the shadow. Put some shadow under there. We're going to use that color. Pasting it. Boom. We pasted the shadow. We are going to go with 26 here. 26 to give us a nice blur. What is this one? Oh, that's the spread. So, did we even change the spread? We went negative on that, right? Yeah, we went negative. So let's go with negative 20 something. That's good enough. And then we're going to bring this up, which should bring our shadow down. Yeah, it's bringing our shadow down. We're going to have to change the color of our button because it's too matchy-matchy. Not enough contrast, in my opinion. That's too far gone. All right. So let's change the background. BG means background. We'll go with a different color scheme. We'll go with a blue fade. Or do we want to go with a green fade? Let's go with this here. We'll fade that to green. That looks good. Looks pretty good. That's too bright. Deeper tone. That's bright tone. All right, that looks good. I like that. Now, we're gonna adjust the border, and we're gonna get rid of that border. There we go. That looks good. I think there's some type of an error. Oh, there it goes. Now it looks good. The border looks good now. Yeah, that must be a bug because when I did it before, the border was only showing up on one side. But now it looks good. Let's increase the border again. It's totally up to you, your design choice. Let's get rid of the border. All right, so we got our button and we have to fix that shadow. There's too much shadow. And we can go with a little bit of opacity, a little bit of transparency, I should say. And that looks good. I like that. I think we got too much spread up here. Let's decrease it. It looks better. We don't want to have too much spread. And we can do the same with the button. It sticks out too much, the shadow. There we go. Want it to be a little more subtle. Not all gaudy looking. That looks good. Now, do we want anything here and here? Choice is ours, really. Or what percentage do we have now? 16.3. 16.3. Let's keep it even. And we could put some icons over there, just for the sake of doing it. Icon. Let's adjust our icon. We go to settings. Padding. Do we want to put some padding at the top? Yeah, let's put the padding at the top instead of playing with, no, that's not going to work. We want to get it to the center here. You can do that with margin. Or we can completely get rid of those stars. Or leave the stars where they are. They're not too bad, actually. Move it to the left. I like it closer to the thing. Yeah, that looks good. Let's move them to the left. Yeah, closer to the image. I might be moving too fast. All right, so let me slow down right there. Align. That's the align button. So we're gonna click that, click it, and you can see the effect immediately of what you've done. And you can also add a link. You can put a link to a different block. See, it has that block. If you wanted to link to that block, if somebody clicked on that star, the page will just automatically go to that block, which is pretty cool. If you want to direct somebody to a certain position on a page, on your web page, that's pretty handy. Or you can have it, if somebody clicks on it, they'll go to google.com or whatever link you put in that link box. See, it says link to whatever link you want it to go to. You can use it. Open it in a new tab. That's an option. Or make it a no follow if you don't want anybody to know which website it came from. So if you send somebody to, let's say google.com, Google will know which page that was linked from. So they can see in their data on their website which website that visitor came from. So it'll say in the referrer, it's called the referrer, it will say that they came from mywebsitehelp.com, and Google will know that that's where that link is that brought that visitor to their website. And you can change that to no follow, which means it will blank that so that Google will not know where that visitor came from. If you wanted to do something like that, you can have it so that nobody knows where they came from, like just a random visitor out of nowhere, no referrer. All right. I hope I explained that well. All right, so let's go. That looks good. We can change the color of our icon. Obviously, we can do that. That's pretty easy to do. We'll duplicate that. Or we can just do this. Copy. Watch this. This is a good feature. Elementor has this feature as well. You can copy it and then right click it and we'll paste the styles. Oh, it doesn't change the settings. It doesn't change the color. Why didn't it change the color? Let's try it again. Paste styles. There we go. Yeah, so you can just copy the styling from here, paste the styling to there. Save you some time if you're dealing with the same type of element, you know? Save you some time. All right. Let's give our button a link. We have the same options. We don't need to give it a link, but you know that you can give it a link because it's a button. It should have a link. Now, let's see. Let's put a form in, because forms are important when you're building a website. You don't have that option with the free version of Elementor, but you do have that option with the free version of Brizy. So let's go ahead down to the next block. Let's decrease our padding. But we have a hard edge here, which looks pretty jarring, to say the least. So let's go ahead and make that a little bit more fancy-like. And we will do it this way. We're going to click on this block, the upper block right here. We are going to select settings, more settings, and that's called the divider. So we are going to add a divider. Right here would be, you see that white line going diagonally? That indicates that the divider is on the top. Settings for the divider on the top. Right now it says none, no divider for the top portion of this block, which would be the top there. So we can add one, and it gives us that, and we can change the color to whatever color we want. And we have a few options for different types of shape dividers. We can use that one if we want. You can see the effect immediately, or that, or any one of these. That's always pretty cool. But I don't want any divider at the top. That one, that's pretty cool depending on what type of effect you're going for. That's not the effect we're going for, and neither is that. So we're not going to have any divider at the top, no shape divider at the top, but we are going to have one at the bottom. And I am going to go with, let's see, I almost never use that one. No. I like that one. That's kind of game-ish. I like that. That's subtle. It's not too in your face. And you can increase the height of this shape divider. Can you do it manually? Oh, you can't. You have to do it through the settings menu. So we'll go back to the settings. More settings. And we will increase the height. See that? We can go up really high. Or we can go low. I'm playing with the slider. So we'll keep it about right there. And we're going to change the color. So we copy our color from the bottom. Let's copy the color from here. Copy that. So that it matches. Right now it's black. But we want it to be red so that it matches. So it looks like this part here is overflowing into this section. It makes it look more pleasing. But that's just a matter of opinion. You can make it look however you want it to look. And you can even have the arrangement, the divider go over the button. See right there how it's over the element or under the elements. Whatever you want to do. Let's keep it with under the elements because that's a button obviously, and we want it to be we want it to stand out. We want people to click on our button 2. We want them to click it. Now we're going to change our color. Oh, this thing is in the way here. How do I fix it? That's annoying. Let's see. More settings. Okay, now we can get to it easier. No, we can't. It's still in the way. They gotta fix that. That's been a nuisance for a while. Brizy, you gotta fix that. Can't get to this. Come on. Alright, so we'll try and match it up manually. There it is. If that's not it, it's really close enough so that we can't really see the difference. I can't see the difference. All right, so that looks good. That's not always in the way. The way to go around that will be to resize the window that you're working on. And I'm not going to do that now because it's going to mess up this video, the way I'm recording the video. So you would just grab the edge of your video, grab it somewhere until you get the arrow and then resize it so that you can get to that menu option. Another option would be to relocate the block menu's position to the left side of the screen. Now you can do that by clicking the button shown right there on the screen right now. And what that will do is it will reposition the block menu to the left side of the screen, allowing you to get access to the shape divider's color so you can copy and paste the color code into the needed section, and therefore the color code will match and the color will match for the shape divider. All right, so moving forward, let's go back down to here. Get rid of all of that padding. Don't need that much padding. And we have an empty block there. We can add a block. We can add an element to that block. So let's put a form there because forms are important, and I'll show you the features that we have with forms. You have some different features here you can go through. Everything is pretty self-explanatory. The settings are where they are. And you know what, before we go to the form, let me show you the animations that I was talking about with elements. You can put an animation on any one of these elements. You can put an animation, an entry animation on any one of these elements. That's the only animation you have with Brizy as far as I know right now. Even with the Pro version, there isn't too many animation options with Brizy. But you don't need a whole lot of animation options because, like I said, simple websites are king right now. Facebook is an ugly website. I can't stand the way Facebook looks. But people love it. They don't have a problem going to the website, they can use it. Same thing with Twitter. It's a simple website. People love it. They don't have a problem using it. No fancy animations, none of that stuff. So animations are not really that important. Just keep that in mind. All right, Google, simple. Third simple website, no fancy animations. Sometimes they put some fancy animations on there, but for the most part, there isn't any. And obviously, Google is the king. They have all of the traffic. All right, let's see. That's the Hoover effect. Change its color. Showed you how to make Hoover effect changes, but let's go over it real quick. It will be under the color tab, and then you have the little Hoover thingy right there. So you click that and you make your adjustments. You can decrease the transparency, increase the transparency. Let's increase the transparency, and let's put some transparency on the non-Hoover section. That doesn't work when you have a gradient. Yeah, it doesn't work when you have a gradient. If we were to go solid, now we can go solid and then go back, and we'll still have, see, look, if we have a solid, we can put some nice transparency on the button. Give it a nice fancy effect, and then when we hover over it, it goes solid. Let's see if we like the gradient better. The gradient effects, they stay there. So if you switch it from solid to gradient, the last change that you made will stay there, so you don't have to make your changes over and over and over again. Which would you go with? I gotta say I'm liking the transparency on that. We'll go with a different color though. Nope, we'll go with the gradient. Stick to that. Let's not get too focused on the because this is a tutorial after all, so I'm not going to get too focused on the cosmetics, because that's totally up to you. All right, so now we're going to add our animations. So we're going to click this button, click on settings, and then we're going to go to the advanced tab right here at the top, styling. That's the left tab, and we have animations right here. Button line, right? You can align the button alignment. You can. Why is that there and here? That's strange. Why does it have it twice? Let's try that. Oh, that's for this, the menu options. Okay, so you can have the menu pop up there, or pop up over here, or you could even have it locked. Okay, so I guess locked would be open all the time. Either way, not important. All right, so I like it over here because that's what I'm used to. But if you want it over there, you can move it over there. The choice is yours. Now, let's, what were we doing? Button animation. So the advanced tab, we're gonna click the advanced tab. Let's go over this real quick with the padding, because I don't know if it's self-explanatory or not, but it might not be. If you have this solid box here, and then you have the box with the separations, the solid box means it's going to adjust the padding on every side. All sides are linked. Now, if you click this, it gives you the option to adjust padding on just one side at a time. Top, the right, bottom, left. You can move the button over there if you want a little bit, and so on and so forth. It changes the padding. Stop that. But we're going to keep it linked because we don't need to change that. And the same thing goes for the margin. If you see these two boxes, that means it's unlinked. That means these are linked. Oh, right now we're already selected on the unlinked section, so we can adjust the margin individually by moving that up and down. Put the margin there or here, and so on and so forth. We're going to go back to 10. That's where it was. Now let's go to the advanced tab. This button, entrance animation. This is for CSS and CSS ID. That's what do they call that? Something style sheet, class style sheet, or something like that. But you need to know some coding to do that. And I don't know that, so we're gonna leave that alone. Custom style sheet, yes, the custom style sheet. So it'll be like custom styling for this element. And I'm not going to do that because I don't know that. And I don't know what the Z index is either. I'm going to keep it honest with you. I don't know what Z index is. When I change it, I don't see any changes. So we're going to leave that at 0. Now, if you don't want this button to be shown on the desktop, you would select this, because the button may not look good on the desktop. The button may be designed specifically for use on tablet size screens. So if it's designed to be used on tablet size screens only, then you would select that button, or you would leave it alone. Yeah, because you want it to show on desktop. But I'll show you what you gotta do. You gotta go to the tablet responsive mode right here, And then there's another option that pops up that says hide the button for that size. But anyway, self-explanatory, show on desktop. Yes, we wanted to show on desktop. Now, when we leave the desktop, if we check that, it's not going to show up. It's gone. Now, when we leave the desktop, that button's going to show up. It's going to be in the tablet mode. It's going to be in a mobile mode. So if you want to hide it on the desktop, that's where you would go to hide it on the desktop. Hide an element on the desktop right there. Every one of these elements has this option right here. These options are on all of the elements. Every one of these, the options are right there for it. Okay, so now let's go to settings. And we are going to put an entrance animation. Right now we have none. But we can select them and it'll show you right away what the what it does. It gives you an example right away. So bounce. See that? It bounced in. Flash. Now it's gonna flash in. Pause. Got one pause. Rubber band. You know, you can go through them as you like, as you wish. The one that I like the most is bounce in from the right. That draws attention to it. Not that the other options don't draw attention to your element, but I like that. And you can set a delay. You can set a duration to slow it down. You can set the duration to be 2.3 seconds and it'll slow it down. See how slowly that button came in? It'll draw a lot of attention to it. And you can delay it by however many seconds you want. Let's say you got somebody at your website and you don't want that button to show up until they've been, or you don't want that element to show up until they've been on your website for at least 30 seconds. You could put that delay at 30 seconds. And as soon as 30 seconds come, that button or that element will show up on the website. 30 seconds, 1 second, few milliseconds, choice is yours. And the hover transition, that is when you hover over an element, how long it takes for that hover effect to show up. And the transition, you know, between normal mode to hover mode. So if you increase it, it takes longer. Okay. Well, maybe not. And let's decrease it and see if we can see a difference. So yeah, we can see the difference. I can see the difference. It's immediate. No transition delay. And we have a 100 millisecond, which is 1/10 of a second, 99 milliseconds. There's a delay, slight delay. No delay. All right, so we'll leave it at 50 milliseconds. We could probably go up to 200 milliseconds. Let's try 500 milliseconds. Yeah, we can do that. Nope, we can't do that. Not possible. So 100 milliseconds is the longest duration hover transition that you can achieve. I'll leave it at default, which is 50. All right. Now we've covered that. We've covered this. Now let's go to the form. We're gonna put a form there. Add it right there. Just drop that form in. Oh, let's close that up. Click it. Okay, now we can see what we're doing. Now we can adjust this form. We can add new elements to the form if we want. That's the spacing between the form fields. Let's see, required. We want email to be required. Advanced. What's under there? We can hide the label if we want. Oh, we can add a label at the top. We can get rid of the placeholders. So it's just a blank form, but I like the placeholders. We don't really need the label. And we can change the background, small, medium, large, round off the corners. We so choose. Text, color. But could we add more elements to the form? Can we add more fields? Oh, you can. Okay, you would click. That's how you do it. So you click that, and if you want to duplicate it, you just duplicate it, and duplicate it, and duplicate it, and duplicate till you have as many form fields as you need, and you can adjust each one of those fields to be whatever type of field you need it to be. So it can be an email field, it could be a text field, and obviously you would just change the labeling there. You could change the labeling manually by just tapping it and then changing the label. Put the cursor there and then tap it, and then change the label. That's pretty easy, pretty straightforward. All right, or you can make it a number field, a paragraph field. Oh, hold on, you have a few selections there. We're just going to stick to a simple email submit form. But the options are there if you do need to add more form fields. You have the ability to do so. So that's good. Now we're going to delete that. Delete that. We need one email spot. We're going to delete that. We're going to delete that. We have our email, and we can change the name to submit. And we can change that to just plain old email. I'm gonna click the button right here, and we can modify our button styling right here. Right now, with the form field, you only have the option to change the height manually. You can't really adjust the width manually. Doesn't give you that option. But you can always adjust the padding within the box for this. So if you clicked here and go to settings, you can adjust the padding on the right side, the left side, to squeeze the entire form in. That, and we can do the left side, 100. That, now we have a smaller form field, both button and the field. But we'll put that back to 0. Leave that alone because that's not too important. Or you could even do it like this to get this down to the size that you want. You know, just sometimes you have to think outside of the box to get elements to do what you want them to do. So what we can do right now is we'll put a row there. Put a row right above our button, and we'll duplicate it. So we'll have a 3 row. We'll have 3 columns. Get rid of this menu. We'll have 3 columns. This is a column, the blue box, and that is our row, the dotted line box with the gray upward arrow. If we click that, we'll get our options for the row. Now we can duplicate this column. Now we have 3, and we can drag our button, our form, right into there. So now we have the option to size it however we want. And we can just leave those blank, or we can put some icons or whatever the heck we want to do. We can modify however we want. But now we have the option to size our form however we want it to be sized. So we're going to go with 48, and then we'll go with 48 over here. All right, so it's even. Now let's modify we can round the corners off to the buttons. You know, the same features are available. We click there, buttons, round to the corner, see that? And adjust that so that it's not too much rounding. We have the same level of functionality. We can add a gradient to our button if we want. That we got a fancy gradient that looks good by default. We'll leave that alone. This is just a tutorial, so you can style it however you want. You can center it, off center it, and we'll just leave it in the center. I didn't really see any changes there, but that option is there. Now, as far as where the information that is entered into the button goes, you'll select this for plugin. You can use SMTP. You can use Gmail. Now, I haven't personally been able to get the Gmail function to work correctly. The SMTP can work, and you can use WordPress's built-in options, but that doesn't work as well either. Your best bet would be to use an app. Now you'd have to have Brizy Pro to use one of these options. You have MailChimp as an option, Sendinblue, Zapier. You can read through these. You can go through these yourself and choose one of the options for integrating your content customer relations management system. A lot of people like ActiveCampaign, ConvertKit, GetResponse. A lot of people like these too. Any one of these, GetResponse, ActiveCampaign, MailChimp, they're all pretty good. Zapier is available as well, MailerLite, and they say that they're working on other options, other content customer relation management systems, emailers, basically, email server systems, email senders, or whatever they want to call these things. It's a shame that we have to have these to get our emails out, but they are necessary to get your emails out to a lot of people. If you're sending them out to over 1,000 people, sometimes the built-in email functionality won't work so well. It'll just end up in the customer spam box, and we don't want that. So this is your best option. You can also add reCAPTCHA so that people aren't just constantly submitting and submitting and submitting. They'll have to be slowed down using the reCAPTCHA, which I find annoying on other websites. But another necessary evil that we have to have, you have to set up an account with reCAPTCHA. And yeah, you got these apps. So those are your options. Once you click on them, the guidance is pretty self-explanatory as far as setting them up. You'll just have to find your API settings within your content relationship, your customer relationship, your CRM. So you'll just have to find your APIs within your CRM to set these up and get everything going nice and smoothly. And it works great. I have it on some websites. I've been using, I've used Campaign Monitor. I don't recommend them anymore because they did me dirty. They canceled my account for no reason. Speculation, they assumed, didn't violate anything, but I don't recommend them. ActiveCampaign is good. GetResponse is good. MailChimp is good. They haven't given me any issues. I've used those three. Right now I'm using Campaign Monitor because they seem to be, seem to give you the most options at a decent price. So ActiveCampaign for now. Hopefully they don't act up. These people here, they're so finicky. Scaredy cats, they're afraid that people might be spamming and using their services to spam other people. They get so shook and they'll cancel your account just at the slightest whiff of them thinking that you're spamming. And I'm not spamming anybody, but if they think it, they'll probably cancel your account. So just be cautious and make sure you have everything backed up so that you can move over to somebody else if you need to. All right, so with that said, that's how you would set up the forms and get everything going as far as setting things up. Right there is how you configure your WordPress. You would put the subject and blind carbon copy, reply to, the metadata, and from email, from name, subject, email to, that would be, it's going to send you a copy. So if you need to have multiple emails, you can separate them by commas. So when somebody submits something, you'll get an email notification to that email address that you enter there. Blocked out because I don't want you guys looking at my email anyway. So continue, done. That's it. Simple. Now, let's put one more block here. There's another thing that we can do. Let me show you another feature that we can do. We'll do it with this block here. Just extend it out, get some padding, and we will add background. So we add our background, but the only thing is when you add the background and you have that color matching divider for this, it's going to change it, and you'll see. Let me show you what I mean. We'll upload an image. We will go with that. That's fine. Select it. Come on. You can do it. All right, see it? You can see it through the background. And now the shape divider stands out. Doesn't look as smooth as it once did. So keep that in mind when you're adding backgrounds to your image. Now we can change this opacity so that the background shows more. It's like an overlay. The color is an overlay unless you have no background. If you have a background, then the color is an overlay. If you have no background, then the color is going to be solid and it's just going to show the color. So you can even choose it to be solid, going all the way to 100% with the transparency bar, or you can lighten it up a little bit so that we have like a reddish overlay or a bluish overlay and so on and so forth. We're going to undo that because I don't know what that was. All right. Now that that's done, yeah, Brizy is pretty easy to use. Just play around with these add-ons, the elements here. I can show you what this does. Tabs. Rid of that. You can put that there, make some changes to that. You can even drag and drop different elements within that tab right there. So you want to put some text there, you want to put a button in that tab. You can go ahead, you want to put another icon, you can get rid of that icon. You can do whatever you want, and then you can go to the next tab and you can make the same adjustments. So, and you can change the title of the tab, and you can do it that way. Manage some settings, you can adjust the padding of that, see what that does. Adjust that here. Let's get rid of it. We don't need to make any padding adjustments. Tabs, orientation, do it that way or that way, and you can have your tabs on the side like that, or that way. And the style, what is that? Oh, so you can have a space between the tabs, which doesn't really not very explanatory. Yeah, let's get rid of that and go back to that, because that people can figure it out when it looks like this, the way it looks now. They can see the tab is actually attached, and they can figure out that if I click this, it's going to have that effect, and if I click that, it's going to have that effect. Now, activate tab on click or on hover. On click is better. Spacing. That's good. The icon. We can add an icon to the tab if we want. We'll just put that. That's cool. See, we got an icon on our tab. And we can do the same adjustments on this tab. Put an icon, style it, spacing, and we can adjust the sizing of our icon if we put one there. Let's put that one. I don't know what the heck that is, but we'll put it. And there we go, spacing. We got the size, icon size. Oh, it looks like it adjusts both icon sizes. That's pretty good. Pretty cool that it does that, so you don't have to make the adjustments twice, and it doesn't look funky if you forget to change. Well, you can't forget to change it. You shouldn't be able to forget to change it, because you're going to be looking at the web page while you're designing it, and you can see that it looks funky, so we don't want that. Spacing, we can adjust the spacing, obviously. That's not doing what I'm expecting it to do. Oh, I see what it's doing. It's adjusting the space between the icon and the text. So, and there's some padding. Can we do padding? I just had it. Oh, that's that padding. Yeah, that's it, man. We got everything we got right there. We can even do a gradient to this section if we want. Color, solid, gradient. See that? We got that gradient going on for us. But let's do this so that this maintains smoothness, the cohesiveness. We're going to maintain that by copying this color, copy, and then we'll go to gradient and switch this from 90 to 180 so that it's 180 degree gradient, and then we'll select that color slider there, and then we'll copy that color. Boom, it's there. Oh, it's already there. I didn't have to make any changes. And we could change that portion from a green to a purplish, which is a pretty good transition. And now we have a nice looking gradient there. That looks pretty good, right? And we could even do a gradient overlay here on this one on top of the image, which will look pretty cool. See, we can do that. 90 degree, we got nothing there, and then we have our green over there. Go a little bit more transparency right there. And that looks pretty cool. Or we can bring this green down here with a 180 degree gradient. Now let's preview our website. Let's update it. And where's the preview button? Oh, there it is right there. Preview. That's what we got. See our button delay? What it looks like. Just something real quickly put together to show you what the what it looks like, you know. And all right, so let's move on to the next section. which will be Yellow Pencil. Yellow Pencil is just a tool that we're going to use to make sure that our website looks good on different size screens. But first, we can use Brizy for that. So we can go to tablet. I didn't show you any adjustments on the different size screens with Brizy. You can do that. And all of the adjustments that you make when you go into tablet mode will stay in tablet mode. And it already looks pretty good. Click that. Click that. It already looks pretty good. So it goes, when you use tablet mode, this kind of acts like an accordion instead of a tab, which is pretty cool. It's pretty easy to figure out. I would advise you guys to make adjustments to that as well. Play around with it and so on and so forth. You can make the button bigger on a tablet. Oh, I see what I gotta do there. You have to bring this over and slide that over. And you can adjust that there. So it's moving that thing over. I'm not sure why it works that way on tablet mode, but you can see that this column is being completely shifted when you make the adjustments. So keep that in mind. Don't want it to walk over like that and then it looks funky. See how it walked all the way over to the next column, to the next line? That looks funky. So keep that in mind. Bring that to 13%. Then we'll bring this over. Just play around with it to get it to your liking. Or we could even see that button there. That will make it that'll make it invisible in tablet mode. That gets rid of everything, but we don't want to do that. It's not what I wanted. I wanted this part to be invisible in tablet mode. And let's do the same for that one, tablet mode. Now we can adjust it over there, but we can't adjust it over there. Well, that's pretty funky. Anyway, the tools are there for you to make it look good in tablet mode and or mobile mode as well. You can get rid of those, make it bigger, adjust the slider, and so on and so forth. Get rid of that. What is that? Oh, that's our star. We don't want that to show up. Let's get rid of that. That looks funky, so we'll just get rid of it altogether and tap in the mobile mode. We don't need that there in mobile mode. The focus is the picture, or the focus will be whatever you decide the focus to be. And we can move this up a little bit, a little closer to our image. We'll select that, and the settings menu will pop up, and we can adjust the margin to bring it up. So that brought that button a little closer. What is this here? I don't know what this is, but we're going to hide it. That brings that up. Oh, that's our spacer. But we don't need the spacer in mobile mode, so we'll hide it in the mobile mode. And that looks better. Bring that up some. And we can bring this down. Let's click it. Put some padding there. Nope, that's not what we wanted. What do we need to do? Oh, we click this to bring this entire row down. So we'll bring the row downward a little bit. Give it a little bit of space. Okay. That looks better. So we can make our adjustments on both tablet, mobile, and desktop. And that's what we got. We'll update it. As you notice, none of the changes we made in tablet mode or mobile mode affected the way our desktop looks. So the desktop still looks the same. And this is our demo of the desktop right there. Preview. Now, let's go into Yellow Pencil. Update. Exit to dashboard. And right here, Yellow Pencil. We can just select that. Update it first. That opens up a new tab with our website in yellow pencil, and we can see how it's going to look. All right, so we have some tools here that there's not showing anything right now because we didn't select anything. So if we select this element here, select it, and we have our options to move it. You can also grab it and drag it to move it over there, or move it up and move it down, even though it's not doing what I want. So let's undo that. Where's our undo button? Oh, right here, undo. Undo those changes. I think we need to grab that, maybe. Let's see. Yeah, that should be it. You got to play around with it, and yeah, now we can move the entire box. Instead of the image inside the box, now we're moving the entire box, the entire element. So we can move our element there, we can move it there, move it around as we need to move it, which is pretty handy. I wouldn't exactly build a website in yellow pencil because I don't think you have the option to. But you can make your adjustments. You can fine tune your website in yellow pencil. And you have the option to change the text, the background. You know, you got quite a few options. You can even add animations. But you have to have the pro version with that. But we don't really need to do that. What we are going to do is not use the measurement tool. We're going to go into response mode. This is what we need to see what our website is going to look like on different size screens. We're just going to grab it here, and at the top, you can see the different sizes. 1399 pixels and below, 1199 and below, and so on and so forth. You can even add different breaks into this section here to get your website to look fantastic on all size screens. So what I'm going to do right now is just drag this over, see how it looks. It still looks good. Then slide it over, see how 949 and below, that's what it's going to look like. And now we're down into the tablet territory, 900 pixels and below. That's what it's going to look like. Slide it, and slide it. And if we get something that starts to look real funky, we'll make adjustments as we see fit. Now, everything looks really good. Nothing too funky, so we don't really need to make any changes. 479 pixels and below screen size, that's tablets and landscape phones. 400. Oh, that's the actual size right there. See where the number is moving? That's the actual size where we are. So typically 400 and below, 400 pixels and below is like cell phone territory. And that looks pretty good on the cell phone. Now, if something didn't look good, you can make your adjustments here by resizing the button. You just click it and then, you know, play around with it here. You can even play around with it there like that. Add some padding, so on and so forth to make it what you want it to be. All right, so like I was saying, Brizy does a really good job already with the responsiveness and making your website look really good on different size screens. So you would mostly need to use yellow pencil when you're making a website with Elementor. Elementor does a good job, but it can be better. Brizy does the best job so far that I've seen with page responsiveness. I don't really have to make too many adjustments. Once I make my adjustments in Brizy using the tablet size and the mobile size option, I don't have to go back in with yellow pencil to make many adjustments, if any at all. But you always want to double check it. Let's go to Brizy. So once I make my adjustments here, and then I make my adjustments here with the mobile, and get it to the way that I want, and I go into yellow pencil and check it with the slider here, everything looks pretty good. And if it doesn't look good, you can always make your adjustments. You can always make your changes here right within yellow pencil, or you can make your changes. Actually, you wouldn't be able to make some changes depending on the size of the screen here inside Brizy, but you can adjust the elements enough to make it look good inside yellow pencil to make your website look good. Like, see, if I wanted to make this bigger, I could make it bigger, drag it right here. Oh, no, that's not what I wanted to do. I need to grab the whole box. There it is. Sometimes it's hard to grab the right feature. So I would just drag that, add padding, or I guess I can't. I could probably get rid of these though. Oh, there it is. That's what I would need to do. get rid of these, and then make some adjustments, go back and forth, play around with it. It can be time consuming to get it correct on different size screens, but I wouldn't focus too much on the tablet size screens like this here. This is a tablet size screen. It'll tell you 900 pixels and below screen size, low resolution desktops and tablets and phones. You're not going to run across too many of those people visiting your website. So don't focus too much on that, but do focus on tablets and landscape phones. That's good because landscape phones, you want your website to look good even in landscape mode on somebody's phone, because some people look at their phone in landscape mode when they're browsing websites. And so you still want your website to look good if somebody's looking at it, using that method. Starting to lose my voice. All right, so that's that. That's yellow pencil. Click something, change something, play around with the options, and that will get your website looking fantastic on all size screens. Now, with that said, I think that's it. I don't think there's anything else we need to cover in this tutorial. So if you like this tutorial, you felt it as though it was helpful, make sure you leave your feedback. If you're watching it on YouTube or wherever you're watching it, give it a thumbs up if you can, because I'm going to put this on different platforms. So give it a thumbs up if you like this tutorial. If you found it useful, leave your feedback. If there's something that you need added, feel free to leave a comment, give some feedback, and let us know how, or let me know how I did. So thanks for watching. Peace.